Just want to welcome you if you're here listening. And if you are feeling this as a place to pause, to invite your body to land and bringing your awareness down from your head through your throat and neck, down into your chest and heart, and perhaps down into your belly, maybe even down into your pelvic floor. Feeling this is a way to check in, to notice, to feel your body. Mm. That feeling of presence and how potent it is, how simple it is, how simple it is in its potency, how potent it is in its simplicity. Mm. I took a shower and one of my favorite places to make sound expression is when I'm taking a shower. And there's something about water. I know that there's a physiological explanation. There's something about water hitting the back of the neck that causes a parasympathetic response and in the nervous system. And so perhaps that's something maybe psychosomatically, and it's like helping me relax, but it also just feels like I can be present. There's the safety of the shower container inside the bathroom, inside the home. And I'm recording these audio recordings of me with my sounding in the shower, which has been really fun and which I intend to be a part of my resources that I share on my Patreon account, Temple of the Primal Body. And I'm probably going to share a little bit of these. I'm always remarking at my Cruella de Vil streak and how it changes. Um, mm, Love you, hair. Even though sometimes it gives me a little self-consciousness, I still love you. Um, mm. So I'll send a little blip of this morning's audio. I'll put that in a note on my Substack. And I'm really close to completing all of the tiers. I want to publish and start promoting my Substack, my Patreon, Temple of the Primal Body, once I have all of the tiers created. There will be 2 that are multi-gender. Then there will be 1, the Women's Sanctum, the Wild and the Holy, that's only for women. And there will be a separate one only for men called Forge Deep, the Men's Hearth. And then I will have a couple others that I'll explain later in another video. But the theme that I would love to pop into just momentarily today is about how we can experience ourselves in a deep place of what one might describe, I might describe, you might describe, someone might describe as their truth. And how, even if it feels like it's coming from this place of deep truth and loving inquiry and loving curiosity, to be also super aware of the subtlety of belief informing that truth. And I'm saying that with this, like, wanting to be absolutely sure that we all hear and know in this that, like, our beliefs and having beliefs that are informing that is totally normal and totally okay. There's nothing bad or wrong about it. It's like so many things in this opening up to the deeper understanding of self and other, is what is underneath it. And so I've had interestingly, like, this theme has come up organically in multiple conversations over the last few days, like total separate people, total separate dialogues, and this theme has come up each time. And it's like just another piece of evidence about how the aliveness of things, like the constant responsiveness of energy, um, and yeah, it's phenomenal to me. So this theme of all right, so I'll just give an example. So I was speaking to a gentleman, a lovely man last night, and we were talking about how he was having a conversation with a female friend and how he spoke something to her that was a perspective, and the perspective that was offered was coming for him from total like non on unattachment, like simply from a place of deep love. And the more we talked about it, the more it became clear to me that even the belief, even us saying to ourselves this belief, right, underneath that, even though it's actually being literally claimed, I'm speaking to you from a place of love. Even there's the conscious awareness of that, and then to go underneath, like, is there a belief within that? And the belief, I mean, we could come up with multiples, but the one that's coming that feels top of mind related to that is when I speak from love. My words, when I share them to other people, are coming from my heart. The words that I speak when I'm sharing them with another person are coming from love. And now I want to take full responsibility for what I'm talking about, for my own process and my own experience relative mostly to romantic relationship, but honestly to relationship generally. And I think one of the most important and effective ways to be in dynamic with another person, as I've learned this in very messy ways through my life, is that our truth, um, coming as we claim from a place of love, which totally valid, that it's still being informed by a belief. It's still being informed by something within us. And that's that something, and the thing of the sharing from love coming from the belief, there's neutrality in that. There's no judgment in that. There's no charge. There doesn't have to be a charge in that, like an activated, like triggered kind of a charge. um, at all. We It's important, I think, in close relationship, especially, for there to be space for people to speak what feels real for them. And of course, like sometimes, depending on the dynamic, we might want to ask for consent to speak something that we're aware of might be at odds with what the other person is thinking, or might somehow be create sensitivity for them. Um, Because as my therapist helped me notice last week, and we had another awesome session yesterday, and I was like gonna drop back from my therapeutic sessions, and I'm like, wow, the last two have been so good, and I don't want it to go away. And it's not. I'm gonna resume in 2026. But what he helped me understand is that like my deepest, my deepest value in relationship is to stay connected, right? Maybe that's true for a lot of us. My deepest value is to stay connected. And I had a gathering at my house 2 nights ago for a rotating now free. I think we're gonna put a small price to the gathering, but we call it Conversations on Connection. And it's about how to create authentic relating in meaningful relationship. And of course, that relates to communication. And this week's theme was how to stay connected through conflict, which is inevitable. It's inevitable to have conflict. And just that is like, let's normalize that. Conflict is inevitable. Okay, so I could go down a tangent there. I want to come back and say that um, to be able to speak to the realness of our experience is important. And even with someone who we have deep connection with, a partner, a child, a sibling, a parent, a close friend, that even in these dynamics, sometimes it can be appropriate and deeply important to acknowledge the importance of asking if what we're sharing, if what we want to share, that might be sensitive, that might create some like a little bit of like a woo, prickly feeling. And not because what's being said is wrong or bad, but simply because we're all just where we are. Um, and wow, I could go into a very scientific place with that, but I don't want to go there. I want to say that like just to have awareness that our words, our language, and our perspective might cause a charge in another person, and that doesn't mean that we can't speak to the truthy thing, but to be able to like have an exchange around, hey, is this the appropriate time? Hey, are we still in a place? Are we still in a place, right? Because it could be like you have this historical norm, which is that like you both just share what's true for you at all times. And so the pause to even inquire whether or not this is the appropriate time might not be the typical way that you operate in your relationship. Um, so it's subtle. This stuff is so subtle. It's so nuanced. But to pause in that moment, be like, "Hey, are we still in a place where like I can speak this? Are you willing to hear the perspective that I have?" Um, and then the deeper part, like I've been speaking to for the first part of this video, which is to be curious, right? This is the slippery place, as I've also learned with my therapist. Like, this is the slippery place that, as Richard Schwartz describes through IFS, self energy, this deeply self connected place, this place that is the, I mean, I'm just going to put other language to it that might ping to a listener, like your source self, your deepest self, your everlasting self, your whole self, right? This is like on the energetic level of beingness, of conscious energetic self. This isn't the human brain accumulated lived experience self. That's the ego mind. This is the deeper place of existence, and that's self energy. And even when we feel perhaps like we're coming from that deep, everlasting conscious energy place, we might not be. We actually might not be. And mm, this is the subtlety of the spectrum of ways that spiritual bypassing can arrive. But even this, in a very unintentional way, can arrive as spiritual bypassing. It can present as spiritual bypassing. Um, I'm speaking from my heart, and this is my truth, and it's coming from a place of love, and here's what I think and feel. Beautiful. And, 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 is there any part of that perspective that's coming from a belief, and the belief is connected to not the self energy? The belief is connected to a human experience and a human perspective, a human belief system. Because the deeper self energy is neutral. The deeper self energy has no opinion. The deeper self energy has no judgment and no attachment. And I think that that can be really slippery. And I'm saying this because I have done this a lot. And I have seen how it has a contrary response to what I'm hoping for, which is to maintain connection. That's my goal. That's my deepest desire, is to maintain connection. And when I have spoken from a place that I'm like, oh, this is just my truth, and this is just like, from my deep heart, yes, that can be true, right? It's not like to invalidate that that's not the perspective that I have of myself in that isn't true. That can be true. And, and our beliefs are all coming from a place of humanness. And so when we have a perspective of something, it's an invitation in that moment to inquire with ourselves, what is the belief that's informing this perspective? Amazing. We get to ask ourselves that question. And amazing if you have a response from somebody that's like that doesn't feel like it's coming from your heart. And then the person who's spoken the thing is like, well, it did come from my heart. Like, it's totally from my heart. And then the person who is triggered is like, I mean, of course, their own work is showing up in that too, right? It's not to say this isn't a competition. This isn't like a tit for tat or a right or wrong on any end of a dynamic. This is part of the work that we as a society are being asked to do, which is to um, neutralize the competitiveness of conversation, to neutralize the power struggle that occurs, especially when it shows up in the most important relationships that we have with people, because those ones have the most vestedness. And when there's more vestedness, that's the place that churns up all of the stuff inside of us. It's yeah. I don't need to go into it, but this has been written by many, many people and studied, and this is the biological arrival of our own pains. Beautiful. Like, we get to be in an intimate relationship and have these things show up. Anyway, I digress. The point here is that um, the claim of being in the heart space and in the loving curiosity, like I just did this the other day to a man who I care so much about. Yeah, it was in loving curiosity. Absolutely. That's not true. And was there a belief still that was and informing that, I'll finish. And I want to offer one more like piece of nuance to this, that when we feel like this thing has to be said now, this thing needs to be exchanged now. And I remember feeling that. I would remember feeling like it kept me up at night. Like, I had some sleeplessness. I was like, oh my God, this thing needs to be shared. That's me, right? Like, that is me. No right, no wrong. It's just that's my body's experience. And to take full accountability for what that is, and to get in an investigative mode with oneself about, why does it feel so urgent? Like, the urgency in and of itself for me, I'm learning, is often that there's something that's like really being triggered in me. It's a belief that's really being triggered in me that causes the urgency to um, show up. And then in order to neutralize that feeling in me, I have to act. And the act is sharing my thoughts. It's sharing my perspective, it's sharing my opinion, it's sharing whatever it is that's like, has gotten churned up inside of me. And perhaps for many of us, like also with me, this is one of my deep pains, is um, I desire to be acknowledged and understood. And in my sharing, it's an ask and an invitation for someone to show me back, reflect back to me that I am being acknowledged and understood. So there's so many nuances to this, right? But so, like, in my share, it might be like, I believe that it could be this simple. I believe that this is something that you need to hear. Boom, done. Could be just that simple. I believe, this is a belief. I believe that this is something that you need to hear. I believe that this is something that needs to be shared with you. I believe that this perspective that I'm offering is something that you need to be aware of. Sure. Of course, maybe, right? Yeah. Is it? I mean, we could totally play with this. Yeah, if you believe so, but is that actually true? Which brings me to, oh, I don't have my paperwork here. Byron Katie and the work and her whole her whole body of offerings to which is full of free resources is about really checking in with a belief, one belief at a time. You go through a process, you check into it, and you get curious about it. Is it absolutely true? And so I'll put a link when I share this note. I'll put a link to her website because she has some amazing free resources. One of them that I just discovered the other day, which is a list of universal human beliefs. And I wanted to say nuanced differently than values. Values, like I'll just list a few of mine. Top value, self-reflection, growth. The learner's mind to approach me and to approach life. Like that is way up here. That is my North Star. That is my North Star core value. Honesty, transparency, truthfulness, integrity, reliability and dependability to the people who I'm responsible to. Um, uh, like commitment and dedication to um, efforting toward things that are meaningful and important and need my attention and care. Not from a place of like, I need to work hard to feel good about myself. That's not it. It's the ethic of committing to something deeply inspirational to me and deeply meaningful to me. Mm. Um, Inspiration. That is a value of mine. Okay, so just to kind of distinguish, like versus a belief, which could be like, I'm just going to go grab this piece of paper because there's so many interesting ones on it. And perhaps as I read through these and I felt my body respond and like go into tears on a number of them, which was just like, okay, that's information. That is a belief that I maybe need to investigate. I need to know what to do. I don't know what to do. I know what is best for others. Mm. I know what is best for myself. Whoa. Something terrible is going to happen. It's possible to make a mistake. People should not lie. People should respect me. I can control how others feel about me. I feel your energy. That one was like, whoa, that's right. Because we can get so sure of ourselves that like we're feeling something. And like, what is the subtle difference between something that's coming from our own subconscious experience of an experience versus actually feeling somebody else? Like, can we actually know without checking in? Mm. Anyway, I could go on and on. I will share this and a little clip of my shower sounds and a link to Byron Katie's website. I'm going to be doing a worksheet with a client on Saturday to investigate a belief. Mm. Sending everyone deep love and curiosity in your day. Mm. Lots of love. We'll see you next week.